United States, I think that they trained the Taliban.
Yes, as
the CIA.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, yes,
So
they did. The Mujahideen.
Okay.
The CIA trained the Mujahideen, and they trained Osama bin Laden. See, people don't know this. Osama bin Laden was a CIA asset. If you read the book Freedom Next Time by John Pilger, Pilger, John Pilger's book, the Freedom Next Time, it talks about an operation called CIA operation called Cyclone. It's called CIA's operation named Operation Cyclone, that basically trained the different people in Central Asia and in Iraq, Afghanistan, et cetera, and in the Middle East, particularly in suicide bombing, weapons, assassination, white male, interrogation. Which really, they're torturing you, So, and they were trained by people who were ex-Navy SEALs, Green Berets, SAS, French commandos, Israeli commandos, Mossad, and stuff. They're trained at the farm in Langley, Virginia. And the farm in Langley, Virginia, as well as on the East Coast in New York. I think either Brooklyn, the Brooklyn area, Bronx area and stuff. So they train these people, then they try to make it appear they don't know who they are. If you read Chalmers Johnson's book, Blowback, that I have here, Blowback. Chalmers Johnson, he was the Japanese Policy Research Institute. Now in this book, he talks about blowback. Blowback is basically a term used by the intelligence community about the unintended consequences of certain actions that you engage in. You train these people, right, to achieve certain goals and objectives, and then you make deals with them, and then when you don't keep your deals or arrangement, then they use the skills that they acquire, because you trained them, right, against you. They use them against you. Okay. So those are part of the unintended consequences of those type of actions, and Chalmers Johnson documents this in 3 or 4 books. Now this fellow died, I think, less than 10 or 15 years ago, Chalmers Johnson. But this stuff been going on for you. And then you also need to read the book White Out by Alexander Colburn and Jeffrey St. Clair. They used to have a website, but Alexander Colburn died less than about 8, 9 years ago, and they had a website called counterpunchnewsletter.com, where and they have a publishing company called Counterpunch AK Press or AK Press. Well, anyway, in this book Whiteout, they talked about how the CIA created the Taliban, right? The Taliban means the pupil or the student.
Yes.
Al-Qaeda is Arabic for the base, is a CIA database. Al-Qaeda. They train these people, okay, to do the things that they're doing. And they use them to fight the Soviets, to destabilize Central Asia and stuff, right? And fight the Soviets, because the Soviets doing the same thing as the U.S. doing. The U.S. invaded, because you remember when they had Operation Enduring Freedom, right? Yeah. They were supposed to go in. Then, and like all these other operations, Operation Just Cause, Operation whatever, I'm talking about the U.S. military and others and stuff, and the U.S. government, they fall apart, they flop, right? And so they decide they're going to withdraw, retreat. The thing about it is that, you have a situation where in Afghanistan, Kabul, the Taliban came to, they knew they were going to take them. They were talking about, what about the women who are being tortured and killed, beat up, and are not be able to attend institutions of higher learning? The U.S. knew all about that. They don't care about that. They use these people to do certain things. They try to connect it to September 11th, 2001. Well, there was other September 11th too, anyway, but that was in Chile in 1973. But they used Al Qaeda and all of them to do the stuff. They were monitoring and watching these people. They knew who they were. They trained them. Okay, you can look at Indies Times magazine. There was articles by Wayne Matz and others in Indies Times magazine talking about how they knew exactly where these people who were part of that group that brought down those planes back in September 2000. They even had information. There were FBI agents that warned the U.S. about how they're getting information talking about how there were people from the Middle East. The Middle Eastern type learning how to fly and play straight. So they won't learn how to maneuver. They only want to fly the plane straight. And they knew about it, but they didn't act on it. Condoleezza Rice She was the U.S. National Security Advisor, but she also was Secretary of State.
She's on the Foreign Relations. She's on the Foreign Relations Committee out of the Bilderbergs, I believe.
But she's a member of the Council on Foreign Relations.
Oh yes.
So but the thing about it is that they knew about it. She knew about it, but she even admitted when she was questioned during the hearing back then, we talking 2001, so we talking about almost 20 years ago. Why didn't you act when you found him? She said, I didn't know that they were going to take the planes and make them into a bomb or a missile. You see, this is Condoleezza Rice, PhD, okay? You didn't know? You had the information, you National Security Council, and you're part of strategy groups within it. Come on, please. I mean, save me all the lies and stuff like that. But see, in government, there's this, there's a book called The Politics of Lying. There's also a book by Mark Lane called Plausible Deniability. And so in government, it's okay to lie. Right, and so so that's how they protect those who are above them. They've already taken an oath and they already signed the document stating that they will fall on the sword for their bosses. So that's part of the job.